our whole thing is you know, we're not fast food that everybody thinks. You know, a lot of people say, man, I'm going to go get fast food today. I tell people all the time, we're quality at a fast pace. You know,
That's cool.
we have good food.
Welcome back to the Talk Midland podcast. My name is Logan Richetti with Modern Realty. Today I have my brand new friend, Matt Ackels, owner of A&W and a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about all the businesses and all the fun things about entrepreneurship in Midland today. Let's start with the A&W.
A&W.
Because you're wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
What's the scoop?
So A&W was a business that we did not expect to get into. You know, as my love for the power sport industry has been in my veins since I was very young. That's actually what started me off. And my business partner that I have with all of the restaurants and stuff, he was actually one of my clients. So he come in and he said, I'm looking for one of the best technicians out there. He was having some complicated issues. He came across me through one of his other friends that I did some work for. And from there, he's just continued bringing me his machines and stuff. And we got in some very good, you know, conversations. We realized that our focus and our missions and goals in life were very much the same. And, you know, he was close to retiring with the other company he was at. And we kind of decided to start Orion's inside the Midland Mall. We purchased it from Dwayne Novak. He had some good things going there. So it was kind of our first, you know, kind of trial run to see how well we were going to do together, how well we were going to, you know, be able to be a good, you know, partnership.
What is Orion's?
So Orion's, we have 7 lanes of axe throwing. It's all digital play. So we have like, you know, anything from tic-tac-toe, Candy Crush, Connect 4. We do like a lot of date night stuff. So it's a really good place to come and have a great time with your family. You know, so we have the 7 lanes of axe throwing. We have laser tag, which is the real life laser tag. So you're actually using like AKs and ARs and stuff. So cool. That's a lot of fun. And then we have 2 golf simulators in there. We run golf leagues all winter long. You can just come in for casual play. It's only $40 for an hour. You rent the whole box out. So it's not per person play. So we try to make it super affordable. And then from there, we have the only free roam VR inside of, you know, mid-Michigan area. So, you know, with that, you just put on, you know, your VR headsets and you're walking around a gameplay map and stuff.
Cool.
We offer a party room, you know, so we host a lot of company Christmas parties or, you know, things like that. You know, or if you just want to do a casual birthday party, you know, any of the above. So we'll do full facility rentals and things. So we have some really fun things going on, some pool tables in there, and we're slowly, you know, growing that business.
Well, how long ago did you take it over with your partner?
About 2 years ago.
Okay.
Well, almost 3.
Wow.
Actually.
Yeah,
so
it goes fast.
It does go fast. Now that I think about it, it's like, wow, you know. So when me and him, we wanted to expand. And in order for us to expand, we sat back and said, well, what's things that, you know, Midland wants, needs, that sort of thing. So our vision for Orion's is to take and expand the power sport industry. Orion's, we were looking for one big facility. So, you know, we started looking at buildings in town, and one that came to mind was, you know, the old Kmart building. We're like, well, you know, let's go check this out. It's large enough. We can put the power sport business in one side. We could put Orion's in the other and then do an indoor go-kart track. That was our vision for it.
Wow, that'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you say power sport, you're talking about go-karts and things with driving little cars?
ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, dirt bikes.
Okay.
You know, that's what Traction Power Sports is. That's, you know, my main business that, you know, I started. And it's still open as of today. And we're now one of the largest service centers in central Michigan. So
where is that?
We are on James Savage. We are a quarter mile from Costco's. Very easy to get in and out of. You know, our facility, I started there about 4.5 years ago inside of that building. We walked in and it was like, wow, how am I going to fill this space?
Yeah.
A year later, I'm going, wow, I need to triple this space.
So talk more about that business. What does it exactly do?
So I do everything from, standard lawnmower repair to full-blown, engine overhauls on ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, lawnmowers, snowblowers.
Wow.
I'm also, I just put in a dynometer. So I do all my own custom tuning and stuff for motorcycles, side-by-sides. We can do watercraft, any of that. I have very good technicians that's with us. Some guys that I've stood alongside with in the industry for, 10 plus years. So every person that I started the business with is still with me today.
So by trade, you're a mechanic. That's your background.
Technician. Yeah.
Technician. Okay.
Yes.
So that led you into this. Was this your first business endeavor then?
Traction? Traction was, yes.
Okay. And so that got rocking. And then from there, what was the next one then?
So it was Orion's with my partner, Ron.
All right. So you started with Traction and then you said, I'm not busy enough, even though my business is blowing up and growing.
Yep.
And so you had a pal, you guys decided to pick up Orion's and take a shot at doing some business in a partnership.
Yes.
That's growing now. That's been almost 3 years in the making.
Yes.
What was your next move?
So our next move was to expand the Orions.
Okay.
Well, then as we're standing there, we're sitting out in the parking lot, we look over and there's A&W sitting there.
Yep.
Empty. Man, and we loved A&W, right?
Who didn't?
So, right.
Yeah.
So we're like, wow, we just kept staring at the building and we kind of just shrugged it off. About a month goes by, I called Ron, I said, hey, you want to open up A&W? And then we both started laughing. Like it was funny, at the time. So we're like, okay, no, we're just two guys trying to build a good business. We have a vision. And a couple days goes by, Ron calls me back and he goes, let's do it, man. Just like that. Let's do it, man. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we went through all of the hoops. I contacted, the person that owned the building. And they had multiple people, put in offers on it. And I won't forget it. Bill, the gentleman that we purchased A&W from, he says, you remind me of myself. I want to give you an opportunity. And these don't come every day, So I met him. And we started just talking about what my visions and goals are in the local community. And, how I started as an individual person and how I got to where I am today. At that time. And it basically aligned with, where he was at in his life and how he got going and nothing was handed to you and everything you worked extremely hard for. So, he decided to cut all the other offers out, which were way larger than ours, or what we could afford.
That's cool.
And he gave us an opportunity and I don't think we've disappointed at all, so that was our real first go around. And A&W as a franchise has really helped us grow, not just as individual people, but as really good businessmen. A&W really helped us, a lot develop and take that American dream and make it happen, So we were able to turn that business around. And, from there, Cameron, which is our store GM, is pretty big into disc golfing. Well, he, bumped into a gentleman that owned the Biggby stores. And from there, Cameron told Ron, he says, hey, you guys really need to sit down and talk to these, folks that own Biggby. And they had 2 locations in Midland. And as we're, growing and stuff, we went in and we just kind of were talking to, Corey and Norma were the people that owned it. They were local and they had a great business going. And we went in and they said to us, just so after we got up, we went in, just casually talked, right? And he goes, this wasn't for us to sell you the business. This was for us to see if we wanted to, if you were the people that we wanted to sell the business to. So it was more of an interview, right? And they said, congratulations, you passed, because it was more of, who are we as individual people? What are our goals, aspirations? How are we looking to help the community? Because they didn't want to take what they've built and, have it destroyed by bringing an outsider, outside of town and, bring them in. So it's pretty neat that a lot of the stuff that I've gone through in life and Ron has aligns with a lot of other business owners, that's really working hard and growing. So it really goes to show that, just being a good person takes you a long ways, So from there, we had the opportunity to buy both, Biggby location stores. So now, that put me at 5 locations total with Traction, Orion's, Midland, A&W, and both Biggby's. And then at the same time that happened, we got a phone call, from another gentleman up in Beaverton. They were going through a little bit of transitions and wasn't able to, maintain a few standards and wanted to get out of the restaurant, world. They were kind of going another path. So, with that happening, we had the opportunity to, close and purchase on the Beaverton A&W. So now we're at 2 A&W locations, 2 Biggby locations, Orion's, and, Traction. So most of our stores are all Midland based besides Beaverton. Now we're at the point of growth mode. So our visions are outside of Midland, and right now we're currently actively looking at adding another A&W location. And then after we get that location, we'll just continue, buying and building and developing. But I think we're going to stay with Biggby's and A&W's. We get quite a bit of calls from a lot of other companies that's looking to, sell as we're starting to grow, and people are seeing that, we're taking a lot of businesses that might not have had the best shot out there. And with us being local and stuff, we're really able to kind of focus those and, help the local community. And, total, I mean, we're at like 120 employees already. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So what is it about your implementation plan for A&W's that brings improvement? What do you do to turn things around?
Yeah. So we're in there a lot, and each one of our employees, like our mission is for you to be a better person when you leave than when you started. So, we know that our crossing paths with everybody that comes through, it's a food industry, that it's not a career job. So we have to do the best that we can as a business and as local entrepreneurs and stuff to make sure that the people are being successful from start to finish. So with that, we just have to give them every opportunity, every tool, to come in, and they can learn sales. They can learn, customer service. And they can just ultimately learn how to be a good human, show up to work, happy and not be negative. And, we're very positive how we treat, all of our employees and stuff. So we're there all the time. We're, even when people make a mistake, it's not a mistake that's done because they want to. It's a mistake done because it's something that you're going to learn from, right? So we try to praise people on, hey, I know that was a mistake, but that's perfectly fine because this next time we know what not to do, right? It's like, it's not so much a, tell somebody what you've done wrong. It's more of like, what did we learn, So that's kind of the more positive stuff that we put into people and ingrain them to help develop them for the future. So to us, that's more important than, anything else. So.
Well, how do you manage all the different locations, all the different industries and stores at the same time? Do you have a manager or a general manager or some kind of dedicated leader in every entity, or how does that work?
Yeah, so every store has its own, GM. So each location, we have chat groups for, like Biggby's and A&W. So they're all separate, but our company motto is still the same, right? So we're not going to veer away from the path that we do and we do well. So a lot of people think, oh, I got to do this different because it's a completely different business. you don't have to do it different. Like as long as you do it exactly the same and you follow the guidelines, that the manufacturer that you work with or the franchise that you're working with, as long as you follow those, you're going to be just fine, So just follow the handbook, right to a T. Let the GMs do their job and we do our job. We work on the business versus in the business. So, if I have to, you'll see me in there. Me and Ron was actually working a 4th of July inside of our Beaverton A&W location just because we were so busy up there. But that's not often. You're not going to see us in there, taking orders all the time or flipping burgers. But what we do on, behind the scenes, which I'm sure, you're well aware, it's a lot of work. And I have a lot of late nights and early mornings where I repair. I'm the one that's repairing all of our equipment. So AC breaks, I repair it. Our ice cream machine goes down, I repair it. I do have a couple buddies that helps me, if I can't get to it or I'm too behind or if there's multiple issues, and thankful, that I have some friends that's very knowledgeable in the industry. So, we let them do their job, we do our job, and it just makes it efficient. We don't try to, step on anybody's toes and try to micromanage the way that they're doing it, because each one, if you go into each location, what's cool is you see that they're all similar, right? But their ranch is a little bit different, tailored to, that store's general manager. So we just let them run it the way that they're running it, as long as they follow the guidelines that we give them to do so,
Well, how do you finance the purchase of all these businesses and all these real estate assets at the same time? That's a lot of acquisition.
It is. So that's a very good question. So we do a lot of creative financing. So, whether we've done stuff with SBA loans, personal financing, we've done a lot of stuff so far, like where we did like a 3-year balloon on the building, but we purchased all the assets. So each deal is different. We tailor them to not what's just going to be beneficial for us, because, let's say if I bought your business, like that's something that you grew and we don't want to discredit you for that, right? So we want to make sure that you're financially secure in that. So why should I give the bank all the money when I can turn around and give you the interest and you grow your, self, wealth, as you could say, and still get a financial income every single month and get that interest for your family. And then let's say if we can do a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 7-year balloon on it, you're going to get more money at the end of the day. And, it's just a stronger negotiating point between both of us. And obviously we bring cash down to the table, with them. But so every deal we try to tailor to the needs and wants of that, person that we're purchasing the business from.
Well, how do you manage the marketing and the sales for each business too? Are you using one central marketing apparatus, or do they each operate individually, or how does that work?
Yes, so that's a great question, because each one is completely different. So, the marketing side of it, my business partner does, I would say 90% of, the outsourced marketing. So like he's doing all the Facebook posts, and he's doing all of, like, if we're doing anything on Instagram, or, if you send us an email and you wanted us to sponsor your golf outing, for instance, more than likely you would be talking to Ron. And then Ron then will connect with me, which is like, hey, Matt, what's your thoughts or inputs on doing this? And I'm more of a boots on the ground person. So I would much rather show up, look you in the eye, shake your hand, make a deal that way, of like, if you came to me and said, hey, Matt, I personally want to do this, I would, help with that marketing, for you. We try to focus a lot on local marketing before we do national marketing. But with the franchise side, let's say with like Biggby or A&W, you pay royalties. And so on those sales, they do, if you're driving down the highway and you see one of the, side banners, or, you see something like that, or you open up your mail, you get a mailer in the mail. Most of that comes from the royalties that we have to pay on that, co-op fund or whatever they want to call it. Depends on manufacturer, franchise that you're working with.
Sure.
So each one is a little bit different on the marketing side of it, but we try our best to keep as much money local as possible. Like we do a lot of stuff, and that's what I actually really like about A&W is they allow us to take and kind of be more selective on where we want to put the funds at. So, we pay, depends on store, but 4.5%, 5% of our, sales. And then we get 4% of that money back for us to kind of decide, like, do we want to do mailers, like bounce back coupons, BOGO deals, that sort of stuff. We do a lot of stuff with like the high school here in town or some of the smaller, grade schools and stuff. We try to do a lot of, like free kids meals to those places, things like that. That's more of a, sponsorship. We do a lot of stuff at golf courses, golf outings, the Loon Stadium, anything like that we can do to be in the local market. A&W allows us as the, franchisees to kind of decide where we want to put that money at in our local market, because they want to see, let's say if your son or daughter plays softball or baseball, we want to see an A&W logo on that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what A&W wants. It's all American food. It's what you are supposed to think about when you say, well, I want to eat local. That's kind of how A&W started. So they want that same pitch. They want their money back in the local market as much as possible.
What are the staples of food at A&W, like milkshakes, and like what's the claim to fame?
So for us, everybody says that we're the hot dog kings.
Okay.
We sell more hot dogs than anybody. A&W was actually not started as a hot dog. It was actually, started in 1919 as a burger company. So, they kind of went down, a little bit when McDonald's came out with a quarter pounder. Mm-hmm. A&W had a third pounder. So everybody thought that a quarter. Yeah. So it kind of tanked,
yes.
The marketing side of it.
Yeah.
So,
that's funny.
but now A&W is doing very well, with their thinking and philosophy of, basically revamping how they done all of the stuff. But, we have great chicken, man. Our chicken is so good. Like, honestly, it's probably one of the most underrated things. If, everybody says, I want a Chick-fil-A, come eat our chicken and tell me you want Chick-fil-A.
Really?
Seriously, our chicken's so good.
Well, as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, if I wanted a hot dog in a drive-through line, where would I go? And I can't even think of one other place.
Yeah.
Is there another place to even get a hot dog in a to-go, a drive-through line?
The only place in town, which is local, the owners are great people, is that U.S. Coney and Cone.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that, but they don't have a drive-through.
I believe they have a window on the side.
They do?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right next to McCready's. There, I believe they have a drive-through there.
I didn't realize that.
We love local.
Yeah.
Our whole thing is we're not fast food that everybody thinks. A lot of people say, man, I'm gonna go get fast food today. I tell people all the time, we're quality at a fast pace. We have good food.
Yeah. What about milkshakes? Is milkshakes part of it? Because that's what I remember.
Yeah. Our milkshakes are real good.
Yeah.
So we have, our A&W root beer. We make it fresh in-house.
Yes. Okay. Root beer floats. Is that what I mean?
Floats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you actually come, and a lot of people get confused because they go into the, pop or soda dispenser, whatever you want to call it. And as they take their drink and they go and fill it up, it says root beer on there. It's because it's coming out, with all the other bibs of Pepsi and Dr. Pepper and, Mountain Dew that we put inside of those. Those are all what you would call, bag in a box. It's just pre-made syrup, right?
Mm-hmm.
High fructose corn syrup, a lot of chemicals in it. It's not good for you. If you come to A&W, any A&W location, doesn't matter. Everyone mixes the root beer syrup themselves, even though that you get it out of the, same tap as all the other ones. It's only mixing, all of the concentrate of the, CO2 and the water, all of the stuff to mix it to give you the proper mix of your pop coming out. So it's pretty interesting concept that we're actually mixing all of our own syrup right there just for the regular. If you get diet, that's still bag in a box because it has a lot of, chemicals in it still, but
Interesting.
but yeah, it's actually a good, syrup.
So hot dogs, chicken, root beer floats.
Yeah.
All right, we'll switch over to Biggby real quick.
Yeah.
What's the scoop with Biggby?
Biggby.
What makes it special?
What makes Biggby special is, honestly, the Biggby way is all about, caring and being kind, to people. And that's really, when I look at it, I love coffee, right? I love bagels. I love donuts, but I love the way that they, just try to ingrain into people to be kind. You see it on our cups, you see it. And the biggest thing that I focus on everybody is just be a good person, right? So to me, that aligns with the Biggby way of doing things. There's some things that you don't like, but that's with anything, right? But the whole meaning and the backbone of why Biggby is, who they are today is because of being kind, So, that kind of settled with me in a way that, I could relate to. So
is it accurate to say that the location that you purchased is on Eastman and it used to be a bank?
yes, that's one of the locations.
And the other one is over by Midland High?
Yeah, at 957 South Saginaw. So
which one does better?
Honestly, both locations do really well. I would say seasonal, right? Depends on time. Like right now that the fair's getting ready to come in and when they're doing certain events. So it just depends on what's going on outside of town. But at the end of the year, they do about equal.
Interesting.
We now do DoorDash online orders, which that was never done, before. So now you can order your coffee and get it dropped right off to you, or order a bagel, or we have gluten-free brownies. We have a lot of clients that are always looking for gluten-free options. So we do have a marshmallow treat and brownies. A lot of our syrups are gluten-free. One of my daughters has celiac, so that's a high thing for me is, quality of food and, making sure that it is something that everybody can enjoy.
What is that? Is that like a glucose intolerance?
It is, yes.
Yeah. So she can't eat bread or...
Yeah,
like
so exactly. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So you guys have options for that as well, which is nice.
Yes, we do. And at A&W, we're slowly working on trying to find a good local bread source, because we sourced our bread to a vendor that's fresh, never frozen. So that gets rid of all of the chemicals and stuff. So that's why, like, if you eat at our restaurants, you don't feel bloated and sick and stuff because it's fresh made bread. It comes out of Detroit.
So you have that
you
have that capability as the franchisee owner to source where your buns come from?
Yes, from A&W. So with the side of A&W, what's kind of interesting and neat about it is we are the only franchise company that's 100% owned by the franchisees. So we have a little bit more say and flexibility by following a guideline and standard. So all of our bread has to meet a requirement. So we can't just go and get it from, anybody. Yeah. We have to make sure that it follows all the guidelines that they want, but they want it to be as good and fresh as possible. So you have the best experience every store that you leave.
All right. Coffee, food, entertainment, and technical mechanic support. That's 4 completely different things.
Yes.
If you could pick one and you had to go all the way in, which one would you pick and why?
Man, that's really tough. Honestly, I love each one of them so much. Each one is so much different, and everyone has taught me a skill set that I just can't turn away. What started me, and I wouldn't be in the spot I am today if it wasn't for the power sport industry. So at fault, I would always go back to that because, that's who I am from my roots up. So that's what got me to, where I am today.
So did you grow up in Midland?
I did not.
When did you come to Midland?
I came to Midland in 2012.
And what brought you here?
I was out of college. I came back to Midland, for, I wanted to come back to Michigan. And, I was trying to find somewhere easy to, if I wanted to travel, fly in and out of. I wanted something a little bit larger than the town that I was, in, which was Clare is where I grew up at. So not super far away, but I also didn't want to, stay in a small town, right? And when I moved to Midland, the local power sports shop was in town, which was Stevens Sports Center. So, I started working with them, over there on that side of town. And I started just doing some side work out of my house, as well.
Cool.
When I really moved and settled into Midland.
And then did you buy that store from them, or you started your own?
I started my own. Okay. So I was just doing side repair work out of my house. I was just trying to do odds and ends jobs. I was doing like custom builds. Guys going out to the sand dunes wanted to make a, really powerful machine. I was doing custom tuning, doing, all sorts of just crazy modifications that you wouldn't do at a dealership, right? So I was there. I was doing sales for them. I was doing all of the financing. I was learning a lot of things that at the time I didn't understand what I was learning, right? I was young. I knew how to build an engine. I knew a lot of technical stuff. I did a couple years of business management along the way, before I got there. And I had technical background. I went to MMI in Orlando, and I worked for a couple of race teams and stuff along the way.
Cool.
And
like changing tires now?
No, I was building engines and stuff for them.
In the back, in the garage stuff.
Yeah. And
what made you decide to take the leap into entrepreneurship and opening up your own shop then?
Yeah. So when COVID hit, everything kind of like went black, right? Everybody just stayed inside, wasn't doing a lot of things besides they were looking for stuff to do. So they were buying ATVs and side-by-sides and four-wheelers. And the market went, just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
So I would go to work, I'd come home, and I would have like 30 machines in my driveway at the house. People were just dropping them off and like handwriting their name and stuff on
Well, how did they find out about you?
Just word of mouth. I did no advertising at all. It was all word of mouth.
So it must be a small community of people who know each other.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is I was getting guys that were driving from Indiana, Ohio. I was starting to get motors just shipped to me.
Wow.
Like just on forums, people were passing out my name and number.
So your skill set must be a pretty rare one then, or at least it's not readily available in a lot of different places.
It's not, because I am built different, and I understand that, like I know, my limitations. I don't think I have any. If I look at something, I will fix it. Like there's no doubt about, I don't care what it is. It can be electrical, mechanical. You got numbers that you're trying to figure out and you're scratching your head. I will figure it out. That's how I'm built, So it was a challenge for me to fix things that other people couldn't fix. So people would put that on forums. Like, if you can't figure it out, call this guy.
Gotcha.
And then, I had tech support calling me when I went off on my own, because I met a few people along the way. And then CF Moto, High Sun, like a few of those companies that weren't super large in the area, I seen that there was nobody servicing these machines because they're a Chinese machine. Everybody says they're junk. Sure, they're junk to some people, but other people, that's all that they could afford, right? And if it's broke, they still need it fixed. So to me, I decided when I went off on my own was, I'm going to do what other people don't either want to do or can't do, because they say we can't get parts, we can't figure them out. There's no service manuals for these machines. Perfect. There's no service manuals for them. You know what that means? the average person can't fix it because they don't have a guide that tells you how to fix it.
Sure.
So I physically have started just making notes, and my guys are now trained, that if they can't figure it out, they call me. I usually tell them in a couple minutes, do this and this. They're like, man, I hate you. Why do you,
That's cool.
But, that's just the gift that I have. And I'm very fortunate, to be able to do that.
Well, what's next for you in your next entrepreneurial endeavor?
What's next for me? Honestly, I don't know. We've been taking it day to day. Right now we know that we are going to continue growing as, local people. An individual business, we're going to just keep buying A&Ws and building Bigbys or buying Biggby Coffee shops. We do know that. How far are we going to go? The sky's the limit. I mean, honestly, we don't have a stop number or anything, but we do know that we're going to continue growing, and we're going to take every opportunity that we can. So we're not going to hit, let's say if we hit 20 stores and go, we're going to stop there. No, because every person that we can meet, every story that we can help, every person that we can help develop is just one more person, that we can continue help feeding and stuff. So, it's very important for us to continue building and, don't stop, right now, we do know that.
Well, if somebody wants to reach out to you to talk about that, what's the best way to find you?
I'm on social media. Any one of our stores, either, Midland A&W, Beaverton A&W, Midland Biggby on Facebook, or, you can contact us direct at, Matt or Ron at mrfoods.net, for our emails. Any of those sources, we'll contact you right back. We love to hear people's stories. We love to get people on board with us, and hopefully just continue building.
Matt Ackels, thank you for being on the Talk
Absolutely.
Midland podcast.
Thank you so much.